guys, thanks so much for clicking on my channel. Well, all smiles over here. I am Will Sanja, like asking a question. Will Sanja help me keep a smile for today? Hopefully the answer is yes, you guys. I'm trying not to keep it long, but y'all already know. If it gets good, I'm gonna keep on talking. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. To go to nugget today is thy will be done. But before I get to running my mouth, let's go ahead and do what? Shake up this manifestation jar and then we're gonna talk about it, okay? Let's see, I pulled out one and that one says what? More love, and we'll take that all day long. Yes, we will. Listen, thy will be done. Whose will? God's will. You know the prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. Where? In earth as it is where? In heaven. Right? In heaven. Are you living the kingdom life right now? Are you doing kingdom living right now? How does your life look like on earth right now? When you're all the way aligned and connected, which means what? God is at the forefront of your life, moving in and through you, that you're able to see within your journey with some clarity. That means what? You will access kingdom living. Because when you have the clarity and you being led by God, then what? God will come. His kingdom will come, right? His kingdom will come, and his will be done in earth concerning you as he sees it in where? In heaven. Not according to the laws of the land. No. According to what he sees and knows in heaven. The thing is, when we're not all the way aligned and connected, we don't access that part, which means what? Kingdom isn't coming to us. It's not. Therefore, if kingdom isn't coming to us, then God's will isn't being done in your life. Why? Because you're being led by something else, by the mind, by the ego, and it's telling you that things have to go this way, that way, and the other, which means what? You're not relying on God's word. You're not relying on him. You're not trusting him. You're not using your heavenly currency, which is what? Faith. You're not. You're using what man have put in place to say you got to have it this way, you got to do it that way, and the only way it'll happen is if you go through the traditional route, right? You have to go through the traditional route. You have to do it this way. That's the only way it can happen. So now you're stuck living earthly, carnal mindedness, right? And you're stuck. And what comes along with that? Fear, doubt, jealousy, pride, right? All of those things. And you're in a space of judging. You're in a space where you are so contrary to who you are at core, so contrary to the will of God for your life. You're going to have to get all the way aligned and connected and allow God to lead. And then God's kingdom will come to you and God's will be done. In heaven, you think you got a problem with money? Of course not. And guess what? When God is leading and his kingdom comes to you, it will resemble that on earth. You won't have a problem with money at all. God will be your provision. Everything will always pan out and work out for you, and there will always be a surplus of overflow for you when you live in kingdom life. I know you're saying, no, that ain't. Yes, it is. It's true. Try it out. Your heavenly living is bliss. You're well there. There is no sickness. It will resemble in earth as it is in heaven. God knows exactly how he sees you in heaven. I told you what he said, right? He says, I know the thoughts I think of you, thoughts of peace and of a future and of what? Of hope. Which means what? Your kingdom living is awesome. Kingdom living is awesome. In earth as it is in heaven. You have to decide how you want to live your life. Do you want to live your life earthly wise? Do things the same way everybody else is doing it according to their carnal mind, according to what man say you have to do. You got to get it this way. The only way you can get that kind of house is if you go through this method. The only way you can get that kind of car is if you go through this method. And it has nothing to do with you committing a crime. It's about thy kingdom come. God's will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Now, if he has spoken a word to you, then his will has to be done. And sometimes earthly realm will prevent that because it's not done traditionally. And the only way you can pull in that manifestation according to what God's will is that you have access. And the only way you can have access to what God has promised you, you got to have the kingdom to come. And therefore, what? The lifestyle, the life that God has for you in heaven, it will be here in earth. Does that make any sense? I hope so. If it didn't, rewind it. If you didn't quite get this, type me and say, hey, listen, I didn't quite get it. Break it down a little bit more. But it's just as simple as that. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. God's kingdom come. God's will be done in earth as it is in heaven. God has called you to be, do, and have a lot of things according to what he sees you doing in heaven. And that has to transform to earthly life. But in order for it to happen, kingdom has to come to your life. God has to be leading in and through you. You can't do this in your strength. You're going to need kingdom force with this. You are. So you got to decide, are you going to live earthly, or are you going to live kingdom life? Have kingdom living over you and see exactly how rich, how wealthy you are in every arena in your life, according to how God sees you in heaven. I hope you guys got this, but if you didn't get it, like I said, rewind and watch again. But in the meantime, in between times, if you take just a little bit of what I'm telling you and apply to your life to the best of your ability, you won't ever have to mask a smile. Why? Because your smiles will always be genuine. I'll talk to y'all soon. Be blessed, stay blessed, be blessed, stay blessed, be blessed, stay blessed. Y'all know what's coming next. Ciao.